porch. Very excited. Want to talk about starting off 2026 right. And first of all, Happy New Year's to everyone. Hope everyone had a great New Year's. As you can tell, I am in the car as normal. So that means if I'm not answering your questions, it's not because I don't love you. It's because of the fact that I'm driving. And I believe in driving safely. Both hands are on the wheel. By the way, I'm at a stop sign so I can look at you for a second. With that said, I want to talk to you in this video about a great way to get started. How not to fail in 2026. How to make sure your gut rehabs in 2026 don't fail. So most gut rehabs fail not because of the fact that people are bad or they run out of luck or whatever mumbo jumbo you want to believe. Most rehabs fail because people make simple mistakes. And a lot of these mistakes are simple because they can be avoided. So let's talk about these different mistakes. Number one, the first mistake we have to think about here today is making sure that you get your budget wrong. So think about this right now. You're going to do a gut rehab on a property. And I saw somebody send me information about this weekend, so it's very fresh in my mind. They want to do a gut rehab. Actually, they don't want to do a gut rehab. They want to do a tear down and just build something new. And they assume on the south side of Chicago, they could just do a tear down and build something new for about $126,000. While I wish that was true, the reality is that we're not in 1990 or 2000 when you probably could do that for $126,000. Instead, it's going to cost $250, $300 to do some type of new teardown on the south side for any type of 3-bedroom, 2-bath combination, roughly. And this is what the problem. Here's where the problem starts. She assumes that you buy the land for $35,000. That's probably right, but then the demo is going to cost $10,000. I know that no one wants to spend money on demo, and I get it. If you could find someone who could do a cheap demo, absolutely use them. And there are possibilities here, but $10,000 for a demo of an entire property is not generally possible. Just because of the fact that it's not even about like destroying everything. It's about taking it away. Then in addition to that, because like you're going to need probably, by the way, you're probably going to need about 15 to 20 dump trucks of stuff to take away. You know, your single man operators probably can't do that. You need someone with a little bit with a crew, people who could do this. That means it's going to cost money to do that. Here's the CTA behind me. In addition to that, you know, people forget about how expensive stuff is. It's not just that you could go in and just, hey, we're going to build something. It's going to look beautiful. Great. What about everything you don't see? You know, this is the thing that really gets people. In this example I was talking about, she was looking at a property and she wanted to rehab it, and she thought, okay, the electrical will be $10,000, the HVAC will be $5,000 to $10,000, and the plumbing will be $10,000. Well, probably not, because plumbing doesn't cost $10,000 for a big house. It probably costs $20,000 or more. If you're doing a new startup, you might spend $25-30 on plumbing. I know that's a lot of money because plumbing is expensive. Getting a licensed plumber, and we'll get to permits in a few seconds, is always expensive. In addition to that, the cost for materials today is expensive. You can't just get the cheapest materials. You need copper pipes, and those are expensive. You're going to spend a lot of money on copper pipes. We're doing a kitchen rehab right now in Chicago, and we found out that we had to replace some of the electrical wiring, and some of they didn't have conduits. They had the what's the bendy type of stuff? I always forget the name of it. The flexi pipes, and we needed to replace it with conduit. Well, just replace it with conduit and getting the materials for that one small area in the kitchen was about $600. So if you're going to be doing something, keep in mind there's a lot of things that are behind the walls that you never see, that no one ever sees, that really make a house. Because at the end of the day, you don't want to skimp on your electrical. You don't want to skip on your plumbing. You don't want to skip on your HVAC. Because who wants to live in Chicago when it's 20 degrees below zero or snowing and not have a furnace or not have a working furnace? That's generally not a good idea. Secondly, in addition to that, once we get past the expensive start, which is a big issue here, Let's also talk about the fact that, you don't want to hire cheap. All right. So I mentioned before, yeah, you could go in and you could get your single operators, and those single operators, they can do stuff really quickly, really cheap. And some of them are good, but if you're doing a gut rehab in Chicago, having a single operator doing a gut rehab, no matter how cheap they are, is not going to be cheap for you in the long run. What'll happen is that you'll start working on this rehab and it will take you longer. So one of the first rehabs that we did happened right as COVID was starting. So this is, my partner and I had done some rehabs before separately, but our first rehab together was in 2019, and then our second one was in 2020. And we had just started working on this rehab. We had bought the property in March of 2020, and then the world shut down. And it was kind of funny. And one of the things that happened when the world shut down was that, we had trouble getting people to come out. And we had one guy working on stuff. For a long time, it was one guy working on things every week. It took 8 months to finish that project. It took 8 months because of the fact that it took forever to do it. Now, we got it done cheaply. I'm not going to say we didn't, but because of the fact we did get it done cheap, and because of the fact that we had one guy working on it, it took 8 months to get everything finished. And that, at the same point, I was coming in on the weekends and doing a lot of the touch-ups and things like that to make sure that we got this done faster. So it wasn't like we had to just, hey, we have one guy and we're gonna be able to finish everything. No, you still need other people there so you can get everything finished. So hiring cheap sounds great when you're working on it, but it really doesn't work that well when it actually comes to play. So keep in mind, if you're gonna hire cheap, you're probably gonna end up paying for it later. So I know a CPA who says you always pay for good accounting one way or the other. You always pay for good contracting one way or the other as well. In addition to that, permits and inspections. This is mistake number 3. And for those of you who are joining us, thank you so much. I see people are joining right now. Please like, share, subscribe. I am in the car right now, which is the reason why if I don't respond to your comments right away, it's not because I'm not liking you, not loving you for joining. It's just that I can't fully look at you while I'm talking in the car. So let's talk about number 3, permits and inspections. So this one just gets me all the time. Do we need a permit? Well, probably. I mean, in Chicago, they want permits for everything. I mean, there's a list of things that you don't need a permit for in Chicago, which is nice because they actually have had this question so many times with the city that they actually have a list of things that you don't need a permit for. So if it's on that list, then good news is that we don't need a permit. Like, for example, if we are doing less than 1,000 square feet of drywall. If you're doing less than 1,000 square feet of drywall, you don't need a permit. Cool. I know this. If you do over 1,000 square feet, you probably need to do, you probably could do an express. But if you start doing full gut rehab of a property, which is what we're talking about, yeah, you're going to need electrical. You're going to need permits for HVAC. You're going to need permits for plumbing. And when you don't do that, which we've had happen to us, you get stuck. Because if you get one of those permits and you don't get the other ones, if they do an inspection, they're going to find out that there's some problems here. And then you probably have to go back and get the rest of the permits. We've had that happen. It's not fun. It sucks. But you know what? That's okay. You move on. You learn from that. Make sure you get your permits because you're going to have inspections on that property. In addition to that, when you're getting inspections, you get your permits as soon as possible because you want to make sure that you're getting your permits beforehand because the city does not move that quickly. I know I'm telling you something very shocking here, but the city of Chicago is not that fast of an operator. So because of that, you want to make sure that you're getting permits as soon as you can. And when you get those permits, what you're going to do is you're going to get the permits and you're going to have your plumber get a permit. You're going to have your electrician get a permit. You're going to have your HVAC get a permit. And everyone's going to get their permits. If you have roofers, roofers get permits. Everyone gets a permit, as you could tell. And the reason why you do that is you have all of your subcontractors do that. And this is one of the things we organize and we help work with you on. We're doing this right now in a property on Riverside where we had to get different people. It's harder sometimes to do it in the suburbs than it is in the city. In the city, it's easy because, there's thousands and thousands of contractors who work in the city. In a lot of suburbs, you either have to get your roofer permitted for some areas, or you have to hope that they already have a permit or have a license, in that city. So it actually becomes a little bit of a challenge. A key lesson that I've learned is that, ask who's licensed for what tasks you need in the city. That way you could actually ask the city and they do the work for you.
In 1,000 feet, turn right onto West Webster Avenue.
Sorry, I'm turning soon. With that said, you want to make sure that you're getting your permits, your inspections. So, end of the day, what do you do instead? When you're having all these problems here, you want to make sure that you're getting everything done correctly.
At the light, turn right onto West Webster Avenue.
I'm going to wait a second because I guarantee it's going to start talking the moment I start talking. So, by the way, thank you everyone for joining. If you are here, I am driving out to an appointment right now, trying to start out 2026 great. Want to make sure that everyone has what they need, talking about what mistakes to avoid. In terms of this today, one of the best ways you could avoid issues like budgeting, issues like mistakes like permits, and then hiring cheap is to have the right contractor in place. And who would the right contractor be? Creative, smart contractors, of course. Why else would I do this? Because I know we're the best. Because we have the people that you need for your project. Whether you're an investor, a homeowner, whatever. If you're here in Chicago, we have some people who could definitely help you with your projects. Obviously, I think we're great. If you don't, then get off the channel. But if you do like it, if you do have questions, let us know how we can help you. I'm glad you listened in on this video here today. Thank you so much for joining us. I hope you enjoyed everything. And by the way, if you do need some help, DM us in the message, and let's set up a time. We can do a free estimate to help you.
In 600 feet,
project.
Sharp left onto the I-90 East, I-94 East ramp.
Andy Nathan, Creative Smart Contractor.